Hmm. All right. Take two. God, I was getting in good. Okay. That's all right. I'll just leave this in. So the debate is over. We see, the attack on, well, the raid on Trump's house in Mar-a-Lago. Um, we see that the time for debating is over. Now it's time to send out the goons. This is typical with democracy. Democracy is debating until you realize that there's no point in it. And then we're going to use the same methods as authoritarians do, but it's okay because we're protecting democracy. We're protecting the revolution or whatever, right? I don't even necessarily care specifically the fact that it was Donald Trump's house. Who gives a fuck? Um, the fact is that this will occur more and more. We've already seen this occur before, but then we had, these flare ups and then they've calmed down. This may happen, but I have a feeling it may not now. I'm still going to say, though, I'm still going to say to you, don't join political organizations. Don't shoot your mouth off about your political views. Keep it to yourself. There's a lady who was older. Sounds like she's fixed income at this apartment. And she's like, yeah, Biden, just fucking shut up and whatnot. I was like, yeah, I hear you. And that's all I can say to it. Um, that's all you need to say. You keep political views to yourself. At this point, I don't even know what, my concrete political views would be represented in a party at all at this point. At this point, I've given up on a lot of that. I'm just more of an opportunist at this point. I mean, in all honesty, it's also tiring. But we see that people like Vosh have admitted that they they just want people to, they want he wants lefties to buy firearms and have mass arrests of conservatives, and says that conservatives are low IQ and everything else like that. Tries to say, well, low IQ doesn't mean that's a bad thing and all this. It's like, come on, just call them Untermenschen, call it a day. Just go full on. Call them parasites, call them whatever. Just go full Bolshevik, man. I mean, that's my view of it. Why hide behind some sort of pretend nature of it? Ultimately, it goes to show that lefties ultimately think that they can build on this system. They can build within this system, and they have to a large degree. But I think that what they're going to find, much is the same way as with a lot of lefty movements in general, um, is that you're going to have folks who are more conservative, and those are usually the folks who are a little bit more pragmatic. And it's like, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And because of that, you know, you have more, upheaval and everything else like that because a frenzy has already been created. The fact is that, yeah, the debate is largely over, but people don't want to give up their lifestyles because it's still profitable. Even though, and I say this just kind of as a spoiled millennial as I am, but is I've already had 2 delays from Amazon for stuff. I've given up on one and I reordered it. But we see that, the system is like, even, the mighty Amazon is like, oh, we're having trouble getting this shipped to you. 2 things already. I mean, holy shit. And like I said, that's a minor sign, but it's definitely a sign that, yeah, things are breaking down. And things are going to have to get a lot worse, other than me not getting my Amazon packages, which really, in the whole scheme of things, doesn't mean a hill of beans. We're not there yet, though. We're getting there. We are. We're getting there, but not there yet. I think that the United States had just enough to keep people pacified, and I don't think the rulers today want to give up their goodies. They don't want to give up their power. They don't want to give up their rule. They don't want to do that. You think that Bill Gates wants to give up all that land and give up all that power to be a humanitarian? No, absolutely not. You think that, the Bidens want to give up all that money that they made through trickery and through, backroom political deals? No. You think even Trump wants to give up his money? No. And that's the reality of it. The reality is that, yeah, the debates are largely over, but now we're just at a stalemate. We're at a Cold War scenario where it's like they just want containment. That's really what it is containment. They want to keep conservative elements within certain parts of a city, and they don't want it to spread to other places. They'll see it as a contagion. And I think that's really, to a point, that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to be guaranteed. It could be bullshit, what I'm saying. But I do think that's what's going to occur. People who hold conservative leanings, who go to, who are part of the Republican Party or various local Republican parties across the United States, they're going to be investigated. This has already been known. This was a big talking point, 2000, I think it was 8, I think, when RNC folks were investigated for crimes or whatnot, far right. And I encourage you, don't get involved with these political groups. Now, of course, if you do, you better be dedicated and you better be ready for going to jail. You better be ready for beatings. You better be ready for all that sort of thing. You got to be ready for snitches and everything else. I'm going to tell you that right now. Be ready for that if you're going to go down that path. For me, I'm just going to go along with whatever it is. I don't say that as saying, oh, I just love. No. I say it as I'm an old guy, and as much as I talk shit, I really don't have the stamina to stand up to that sort of beating and all that. Call me a coward, that's fine. But I say that in a genuine sense. If you want to get firearms, go for it. But it's not something that I would tell anybody. I'd say keep it to yourself. As long as you know where it is, and as long as you know where to train with other guys, that's what I would hope for, anyways. That you're training with other people. You're not just learning how to shoot by yourself. You're not going to be some loner out there. You're probably going to be part of a larger thing. Maybe a Männerbund and whatnot. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing back the Männerbund. I know a lot of people haven't brought it up, but I'm bringing it back. Anyway, where the fuck am I going with this? I think we see we see things are starting to be noticeable. It's been like this for a long time, but ultimately people are still comfortable. They are still there. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just reading these tweets. The scariest thing in this site is seeing all the urbanoids that legitimately think they can have a massive civil conflict and keep their bougie ass lifestyles. Meanwhile, the chuds will be defeated when they are starved for oil, food, and highway systems. Absolutely. I mean, people are fairly resourceful, and if you're dedicated to a cause, I mean, even you could say the same thing about Mao Zedong and the Long March. Is that Mao Zedong, and along with I was gonna say Liu Shaoqi, but I think Liu Shaoqi, I don't know, wasn't as involved, but I was thinking of the other guy. Anyway, but they created a strong force, whereas the nationalists generally just took what they could from the United States and Germany, and basically just they were corrupted. But that's part of a different history. But they were dedicated to their cause regardless, and it was a different time where people, still had to farm and whatnot. But it was still, very much like an Athenian sort of society where it's like, it's all about fighting and everything else like that. This is, that's what it was, and that's why Mao Zedong won to a large degree, because they're willing to have the stamina. Yeah. Meanwhile, this is the point where people who have 3 urban-sized dogs and live off Uber Eats should chill the fuck out and walk back their rhetoric or of the last 6 years for pure self-preservation. They should do this, absolutely. And I'm probably one of those urbanoids to a point, even though I have a Chihuahua and 2 cats and live at home with my parents. But that's the reality of it. I'm trying to keep my feet firmly on the ground. There are times when I LARP, and that plenty. It's like, if y'all have listened to this channel any length of time, you'll know that I've had my LARP time. Believe me, I've done it. But I'm genuinely, and I hope it comes across, but I am genuinely trying to tell people, it's like, bro, shit's gonna get bad. Make friends with folks. If you have firearms, great. If you don't, chances are you're gonna find firearms. That's my opinion. I'm gonna give you that hot take. Is that there are people that have like 30 or 40 firearms in their homes, guns, whatever term you want to use, pistols, shotguns, whatever. They're not going to be watching them all the time, so those are going to get taken and probably used against that guy. That boomer that weighs about 250 pounds and whatnot, that thinks that because he has firearms he's going to be safe. It's like, my man, somebody could just have a knife and you're done. But anyway, it's not as much toys you have, as about what you can do with those toys. The same type of thing with martial arts. It's like, don't worry about the guy that practices 10,000 kicks. Worry about the guy who practices one kick 10,000 times. But anyway, I think that's important to remember. Is there's going to be a lot of folks you're going to be like, how that person survive and everything else like that. But that's a larger issue. The point is that, we see people are starting to really talk tough and act like, we're gonna win, this and that. I have no winning and losing. And once again, I'm going to use a line from a movie probably, but winning and losing don't really matter. Living and dying is more important. Winning and losing, can matter. Don't get me wrong. But I think in the grand scheme of things, people can adapt to a lot. And genuine dissidence can go on a long time without people noticing, And at least that's my opinion. Maybe this is me being somewhat more of a coward, being a pacifist, or maybe just trying to wake up from the LARP. I know that I don't want to be one of those guys who thinks that, I have the LARP, plate carrier or whatnot with an M4 or whatever, with all my fancy gear, and then somebody just comes up and slits my throat, and then I'm done. I like I say, it's a crazy thing we live, this life. And I'm genuine. Like I say, here's another genuine thing: is I'm just trying to sober people up, man, and realize that it's like, it's not going to be a cakewalk. If the event or series of events occurs and you end up being a part of, press ganged into some military force or whatever, do what you got to do. Whatever you think it is. I mean, if you, there's a lot of shit I could say, but I think it's a little macabre, so I won't bring it up. But just realize that It's a wild thing out there. And nobody is destined to survive versus somebody that isn't. And I would say just make your peace with God. I would definitely say that. I talk about talk about sin and everything else, but yeah, make your peace with God. If you were raised Protestant, maybe try to bring yourself back to it. I'm not going to judge you. It doesn't, who cares what I think? But if you were raised, Sunni Muslim, or if you were raised Catholic or whatever, go back to that. And at least try to make peace with your life. That's all I can tell you. It's not for me, it's for your own soul. So these folks are going to run their mouths, they're going to talk their shit. People like Vosh, as much as it makes me angry, I realize that it's fear. They're fearful. They want to say that conservatives are low IQ, this and that. All right. If they're low IQ, then by golly, you go ahead and show them up. I don't think you will, but go ahead and try. I shouldn't let things like that trigger me. It happens occasionally, and I still get into it, but yeah. So I would say to you, just avoid it. And just be careful of what you get involved with. and learn to laugh. Just laugh at it. A lot of the time, crying takes a lot of energy. And if you're real vulnerable, yeah, it comes easier. But naturally, just your own state, it takes a lot of energy to cry. It's a lot easier to just laugh. Laugh and just be like, oh, Lord, have mercy. And just dig into it, you look at these HVAC videos that I've seen. Here I go with my stammering. But you see these HVAC videos, and you see these HVAC guys, and all this spaghetti mess of wires and whatnot and shit that's undone. But if they're good technicians, they find out where that is, and they just trace it out, and they'll eventually find out that it was like a solenoid on the solenoid coil on a reversing valve of your heat pump. And so that's what it was. It was a bad coil, and because of that, all that other shit that happened, blowing fuses. And just replace it. But that's what you do. That takes time. It takes time to become proficient in what you do. And it doesn't mean you like that job. It means that you're used to it. There are plenty of people who don't like their job, but they're used to it and they know what to do, and that's what they do. I imagine it's like there are people who are hitmen and whatnot. You think that they all like doing it? No. But they do it because it's what they know. And I think that's an important distinction, but it's a lot of things I've talked about in this. And let me condense it down into this in just a couple sentences. Whatever happens in the future, don't be a loudmouth. Don't just shoot off and just start spouting off your bullshit political beliefs that you heard from whomever that you 100% agree with. It doesn't matter. Stay humble. I would tell you to never underestimate people. And don't think that victory is inevitable for your side. And winning and losing aren't as important as you may think. Living and dying is. I think that's it. All I can do is laugh, because you realize is that people are going to run their mouths and they think that they're going to win. They think that, everything is on their side. It's never been that way. And I hope I never become that way, where I think that this person, it's like, oh, well, they're going to win regardless and whatnot. It's just, who cares? I think that's all I got. Okay, let's wrap it up here. Hopefully y'all got something out of that. Hopefully I sobered some of y'all up. Man, 20 minutes worth of me talking bullshit. Damn. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed it. See you later. Goodbye.